Welcome everybody to the Town of Bowling Green Council meeting, Thursday, October 6, 2022. I'd like to call it to order. Meeting's in session, and we do have a quorum. We have councilperson Ms. Davis, who is not here tonight. And if I can get everybody to stand and please face the flag and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. All right, before we get to public comments, we need to add an item in the new business, and we're going to add it into 15A. Do I have a motion to for the item that we're going to add, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor. Do we need to specify the item? Okay, make a motion to amend the agenda to add discussion about passing and approving a resolution. How should I word that exactly?
Related to the use of water.
Related to the use of water. Thank you. That's pretty simple.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor. Got a first by Mr. Volk, got a second by Randy. Is there any discussion on adding this? This is just on adding it, not about the process. All right, hearing none. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Hearing none. We got all, it passes 100%. All right, that's going to be added to 15A. All right, also, if I can ask council to please make sure that your mic stays off, because once y'all get like 3 out there, then I'm dead or whoever's dead or whatever. So, but that's all. Public comments. I'd like to open public comments. Anybody out there wishing to speak to council, or should they address council, please come up, state your name and your address, and I'll give you a couple minutes. All right, seeing none. All right, I'd like to close public comments. All right, members' comments. Any members here have anything they'd like to bring up or any events that they've done within the last month?
I do got one from the county meeting the other day. I wanted to bring up. Towards the tail end of their meeting, they had some motions on some infrastructure-related type items. So I just wanted to bring up that Mr. Schiebel came out and he requested, and it was approved. It was a total of around about $38,000 for improvements to the courthouse lawn. So I don't remember the 100% specifics of all of this, so I'm going to round the numbers off. But it was 3 different areas. Each was around $12,000 a piece. Some of the things that they're doing, their main impetus is the trees there are kind of being held up by wires. They're not doing so well, so they're going to get them removed. Those trees are actually not native to this area. They're going to replace them with, as mature as they can find, white oaks. And they're also going to replace a couple of the holly trees behind. That was one portion. Another portion was the interior sidewalks. VDOT's the outside stuff, but the inside stuff is them, which, they've been damaged over years from the roots and whatnot. Getting the signpost mural thing set back up that, what fell over in the storm, that's getting replaced with a higher resolution digital print. And they're going to integrate a couple extra signposts. I don't remember what it was specifically that they were for, but they're informational plaques of some sort. And lastly, which, this will bring up a lot of questions, but they're going to install a sprinkler system. Now, they used the fact that the town uses the green. They mentioned music on the green. They mentioned the things that we do there as part of their reason for wanting to improve the grounds. But obviously, when you talk about installing a sprinkler system, it makes you think, okay, are they not going to let us use it anymore? So, that's up in the air. I'm sure it's going to be a hidden system, but, we'll talk with them later about that. I just, that was approved at the tail end of a very late meeting. So I just wanted to inform you that that had happened. They already allocated the funds, so I don't know the timing exactly, because it takes a little while to procure trees. But that's all I had, I think, this time.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Anybody else before we move on? All righty, moving on to staff reports. We have a 2022 Harvest Festival. I guess Lisa is going to give us a little presentation on it.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of Town Council, Town Manager, staff, and community. I am pleased to report that we are almost 1 week away from our big 32nd annual Bowling Green Harvest Festival. To date, and I've presented with you 3 different forms. So we're going to look at the first one that's dated October 22nd. I am excited to announce we have 101 paid vendors at this time, and we also have 8 student vendors in the little entrepreneur area for students. And then we also, that's not including all of our vendors that will be in Pumpkin Palooza and all the different areas. That's just vendors. So that's exciting. The confirmed areas are still as usual. You can see those. And so none of this has changed. When we look at the finance report, you will notice that the cornhole tournament is not on there because, of course, we won't know what those monies are going to be until after the cornhole tournament. If there's not any questions, right now in progress, if you look at the very bottom of the form, it just talks about right now we're still advertising as much as possible on social media. And thank you to Jackie for doing that. We're also, this week, listen to B101.5. Because we gave $785 so that we could advertise our name out there. So listen to that radio station. And also we're super excited that Atlantic Union Bank has donated funds to do our advertising with 93.3 and 96.9. So, and they will actually be on site here during the Harvest Festival at the Atlantic Union Bank yard. So please visit them and thank them for being at our festival. We do have a volunteer meeting coming up on Tuesday here at Town Hall from 6 to 7. If anybody still would like to volunteer, we need lots of runners to help us get our vendors in and set up and ready so that everybody has a successful day. We are this week making personal calls to vendors to double check their health insurance permits and just make sure that everybody is ready and excited for the day. And then, of course, our next steps are to cash out our payments and make sure everything's paid, and thank you letters will go out to every vendor and person that was available. So that's our next steps. The next form you see is just the flyer that's going to be passed out at the festival. It has the three areas, north, central, and south. Has the pumpkins on the top, and on the back it has the area map. You've seen this before. This is nothing new, but this is just what's going to be passed out. And it's going to also be available at the Caroline County Tourism Tent. The next flyer is something I would like to propose, and I just wanted to get your graces today, and if so, we'll start promoting it tomorrow. As with School Spirit, you have Homecoming, which is your biggest event of the year, and during the week, students at school always get excited and start pushing it to get that momentum going. So I would like to propose having a Bowling Green Harvest Festival Spirit Week this week. This is on your blue sheet. It's nothing that we have to do or finance. It's just to promote some spirit in the community with Make a Difference Monday, Tourist Tuesday, Wear It Wednesday, Get Out, Take Out Thursday, and Celebrate on Friday as we prepare for the big day. So if you are okay with this, it's really just, I've asked, there was only one business that I really needed some assistance, which would be the Heist on Friday. And they have agreed to have some fall festival specials on Friday to go along with our Spirit Week. So it's just encouraging some businesses and some support of our local businesses here in town to get ready and get excited for the Harvest Festival. If you're okay with this, then tomorrow I would ask Jackie or over the weekend or Monday to post it so that we can kind of just get the word out. And then we'll pass it to our area businesses tomorrow via a flyer. If you look on the back of the October 22nd, the financial report, I'll use my glasses for this one. So as of right now, you see that those yellow boxes of encumbrances have moved up. I told you we'd be spending some money in September. So all the expenses, we started out with a budget of $23,000. All of our donations, vendor fees, and different things donated to the Harvest Festival totaled $13,440. The second part is the expenditures. Bear Porta Potty is highlighted because we are still getting prices on that with a different company. So that's highlighted as still maybe close to an expenditure, but we're not sure what the price will be. The rest of them, it shows all the expenditures of what we're going to make checks for to pay. And then and that totals $11,289.46, which leaves us a cash ending balance of $25,150.54. Now we do still have to pay out, and of course there may be some surprises that I'm not aware, or rocks that we haven't unturned, but we have a cushion for that. But we do need to pay for our safety, our police service, and we're not sure what that's going to come in yet until after they've done the job. But I did earmark $2,500 for that, which I think is close, if not a little over. And using that amount of funds, it will only dip into the allotted budget, $349.46. Does anybody have any questions on the financial report? Thank you.
Now this, I like this idea.
Thank you.
And this is what's going to be at the visitor center booth?
Yes, as well as we're going to pass it out to all the vendors as they come in, and we'll also just have some street walkers passing them out, like saying, here, take a flyer.
Okay.
And it just tells them the time of the bands, especially the main stage is in the middle, and the time of the kids' activities on the kids' stage, and then just lets them know what's in the bigger areas so they know at least which direction to walk.
I like that. Good job with that.
Thank you.
And also, I see it's been posted out on Facebook all over the place. I know Ms. Gaines has put it all over all the yard sale sites. Hopefully people will take a screenshot of it when they come here. Now they already have it to see what, and they plan ahead on who they want to watch and stuff. Well, thank you.
And we'll still be posting this coming week with the actual band schedule. We'll post the main stage band schedule, and but we wanted to just make sure everything was concrete before we put it out there.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments, concerns? All right.
Okay. Is that okay to promote? Okay, great.
It ain't cost us nothing. I
It
think
doesn't cost anything, just a little bit of energy,
Sounds
spirit.
good. Thank you.
I'm going to point out that Spirit Week ends at what some people consider a bar. Just, spirits there. It's funny.
Have your spirit. That's right. That's great.
Don't know that I necessarily endorse that, but yes, I endorse the flyer.
Support your local businesses.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Did a good job. All right. Recovery Act funds and projects. All right, we're on hold just for a second. Where's that music at we can play?
You want to allow me to ask a question out of order?
I got, anyhow, Planning Commission then? Anybody? Yeah, I heard her. No, sir. I mean, no, ma'am. Planning Commission, are you the same person?
What we had, the Planning Commission just had its regular meeting, continuing to discuss things on the comp plan and some other issues. But we also had the Boy Scouts were there to obtain their civics badge, so they stayed for the entire meeting. I'm sure they were very excited, but I think they will get their badge.
All right, moving on to Public Works, we'll come back to Allison. Anybody got anything for Josh? Josh, you have anything to tell us about anything up and coming new about Public Works?
Sorry. So before the next meeting, leaf collection will begin. I just want to remind everyone, and if everyone can go around town, no sticks, rocks, trash, anything like that, just leaves and pine tags, not even pine cones because that'll start tearing up the machine. And then the playground will be discussed later on as part of a bigger project.
All right, thank you. And that starts when on Leaf Connection again?
November 1st.
And runs through?
We're going to do December 29th, Thursday, so that way all leaves will be picked up before the weekend because it'll be a holiday weekend. We'll be closed on Monday, so we don't want to leave the leaves
All right,
over that long weekend.
So we're November 1st through December
December
29th.
29th.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I just have a quickie. On Maury Avenue, on the side where there's all that additional wood, it's from like house 152 up to 173, I think it is. You know where all that wooded area is on Maury Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
So someone came along and they cut all the shrubs down, I guess to cut them because they're growing into the road, but they left everything. And it's starting to move into the road. So periodically you have to pick it up. Is there any way they can come and pick up all the branches that were cut down? I don't know when they did it, but it's been there for a while, and now they were all just decaying, so they're blowing into the road. That whole strip from the old pump station
Okay.
on both edges.
Yeah, I have them clean it.
Right, where the lot is for sale, where the 143 Maury is, used to be the old parsonage, but yeah, that whole strip is just full of debris. So whoever cut it never cleaned it. They just left it there.
I'll check with our guys because I never told them to cut any of that. So I'll check with them to make sure we cut it. And
because they wouldn't have left it there.
yeah, because anything we cut down, we clean up. So I'll figure out who cut it. And
Yeah.
I mean, either way, we'll work on
I
it.
appreciate it. Thanks, Josh.
I just spoke with the superintendent of VDOT. They're supposed to be looking at it and getting that straight, just so you know.
The brush?
The brush, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Thanks. Maybe they cut it.
All right, while you're up there, Chief, we'll go to you next, sir. No sense you sitting down. All right. Anybody got anything for Chief? He just got off vacation, y'all, so he's probably still half
A
asleep.
couple days.
He's not in back to work spirit. You got anything new for us or anything? And
No, sir. We're just moving along with the field training on the new officer and everything.
oh yeah,
going
yeah.
well. He's been in
Congratulations,
school
everybody.
this
We got a new officer. Chris. What's his name?
Chris Kansas.
Chris. Okay.
Yeah, we're just preparing for Harvest Fest and everything, so.
Okay.
And then we have the big event next weekend too, in here, so.
That's right. You do, don't you?
Dinner. Yep.
Next weekend?
No, this weekend.
This weekend. I was gonna say, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
All right, Allison. You can do your Recovery Act funds.
The Recovery Act funds are later in the agenda, so I'll wait for that. Number 14 is what I have on that.
Then you want to do the town administrative report and the
Yes, sir.
treasurer and all that, kill all that at one time? Or no, sorry, Jackie's got the treasurer, sorry. All right, Jackie, town treasurer, anybody got any questions for her? Or is there anything you need to let us know about what's going on?
I don't have anything new.
Oh.
Everybody good? All right, thank you, Jackie, appreciate it. All right, moving on to consent agendas. As y'all are aware, we got these packets on Friday. You know, the staff, Allison got with the staff and Allison did too. She did a lot of the work as well. We got the packets out early, which they should be. That way council members and myself have time to go through it. If you have any questions, you got plenty of time to call in and, get your answers. And also, if, even with the minutes, if you see something wrong with the minutes, call in, we can get them corrected. And then we can, take care of it in the meeting or, to accept the amended minutes and stuff. But anyhow, consent agendas. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agendas as they are? Got a motion from Ms. Gaines, second.
Second.
Second by Valerie. Ms. Coyle. All in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. There is no unfinished business. Moving to new business. Planning Commission's request for joint work session. I have heard rumors of that.
I can do it if you want. Okay, fine. I will discuss this one, unless you'd like to.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the Planning Commission has been going over a lot of the data for this water situation at their last several meetings ever since the first DEQ, when they came out here during that storm. They have expressed their desire to have a joint session with council and present the data and ideas that they have brought to the table themselves. I do remember that one time when I took 10, 15 minutes that time and was throwing a bunch of data out in the middle of that meeting, and I haven't wanted to really do that again in this format, but there is a lot of information and ideas that could be presented in more of a joint work session format. A lot of things have developed and come up, and it would be nice to get everybody on the same page with that information, and also collaborate and get other ideas going forward.
All right, is that something we'd be willing to do at a work session, or do we need to call a separate day for that, Allison? Because we need to get on this budget too, and I don't want us to get behind on discussing budget stuff as well.
The Planning Commission had mentioned requesting the council to come to one of their meetings for this. Their meetings are held on the third Thursday of the month. Obviously, a special meeting could be called. It's really going to be up to council's discretion for this.
Okay.
You could throw a date out, and then the chair of the Planning Commission could okay or not.
When is the next Planning Commission meeting?
October 20th,
At what time?
6 o'clock, and then November 17th follows that,
Okay.
December 15th.
All right, council, it's, we can either discuss it now or you can think on it, but if you want to get together with them, let's come up with one of them dates, or we can do our special time, away from that. Okay, we got one October 20th. We got anybody else that's, got two, anybody else? Good with that date? All right, anybody
Ms.
else?
Planning Commission Liaison, how do you feel about it?
Oh, you're gonna be there.
I know you're going to
We
be
got
there.
four.
I'm going to be there
Jeff,
too.
you
but-
good? Five? All right.
I'll be there.
All right, so we got five that says yes. Arthur, I know you may not be able to be there, but, okay, all right. And Randy?
What time, Mr.
6
Mayor?
o'clock, sir. All right. All right, well, it sounds like, October 20th at 6 PM.
October 20th.
We'll do the meeting.
I'm going to be at the meeting.
So everybody put that on their calendar, please. And it's right here, good old town hall. 6 o'clock,
6
ma'am.
o'clock. And the clerk will send out a reminder.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda, item 11 is approval of the time for the holiday parade. Plus, in the motion, if y'all discuss this and want to add $2,000 budget to the parade, we can do it in the same, under the same motion, please.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
All right, I got a motion by Randy to do what, sir? To
5 o'clock for the parade start, and yes, on the $2,000 for the parade funding.
all right, so you're,
I believe we need to
Okay.
allocate that money from contingency, reallocate from contingency
Correct.
to for this.
all right, so we have a motion on the floor to have a second.
I'll second it.
I got a second by Deborah. The motion is to have the parade at 5 o'clock and to add $2,000 on a contingency, from contingency to the budget for the parade. Any discussion, please? Hearing none, ask for a vote. We'll do a roll call on this. Arthur?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Deborah? Valerie?
Aye.
Ms. Gaines? Jeff?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All in favor, motion carries. Ayes have it. All right, moving on. Improvements to Town Hall.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Members of council, the two side doors are a few years old, but water has leaked in during rainstorms. And so at least on one of the doors, there is, the floor is buckling and very soft. A couple recent repairs have been made, but it has not helped completely. So there's been a suggestion to add an awning to the top of the door and then weather stripping in the middle of the door. And hopefully that will take care of any further damage. And then we'd still need to repair the wood that's been, now as of a week ago, it's actually cracked.
Yeah, has every council person gone over to that doorway and taken a look? It is extremely obvious. It's got about a 1 foot radius where if you step on it, you will go through.
Yeah, back when we had Wesley repair it to try to stop it from coming in, which he did a good job on it, but it's just not enough. I mean, before it was pointing like this on the threshold, so when it rained in, it came right on in. So he had to rebuild it up to make it go the other way. But we got a crack in the middle of the door that we need to put something over it on the outside so the rain can't come in. And also, we're still getting some rain on the bottom on a hard wind. It seems like the wind blows that way, it blows it in. And the floor is rotten under there. When he pulled it up to fix it, it was, he pulled some rotten stuff out as well and replaced it. So
So if you look at the back of the sheet on this tab, you'll see one quote that I asked for Public Works to get. And the quote is for the awning alone for both doors. And so it's a total of $3,945 for the awning. That is one quote. We will try to receive 2 more quotes for that. It doesn't reach the threshold of town council approval, which was requested at $5,000, but by the time that we put the weather stripping in and make the repair to the floor, it will probably exceed the $5,000. So I'm requesting approval from town council to move forward with the repair.
I'll make that motion for you.
So, I just had a question. What would it cost to put some real doors in instead of these that are just not functioning correctly?
These doors are only a few years old, and we certainly can get a quote on new doors. The people that have looked at them do think that they're well-made doors, but there's just a
seam.
Yeah, there's a problem with the seam.
yeah, both of these doors were put in at the same time. I think about three or 4 years ago, we had them put in.
Is that an installation problem? I mean, is that, I'm curious as to, doesn't sound like that probably was the way the doors should have been.
I know that Mr. Fortune was present when they were installing the doors, and he did bring that to their attention, and he said that there was no changes made at that time, so.
Who installed them, do you know?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Do you know? No.
But if you ask me, but it's not big enough though, the proper way would have been to have that beam right down the middle and the door closes on it. Then now you're sealed up and, you don't have in the middle split like this, with the weather stripping.
Are we for sure that the awning is going to stop the rain from blowing in when we get the wind? Because that storm that we had this spring, it was all water 4 or 5 feet in here. And I mean, if we have that kind of a storm again, An awning's not gonna stop that rain from coming in that door.
Would you like me to put weather stripping on first and then see if that solves the problem before we spend the money on the awning?
Yeah, I think so. And then also, one of the doors we're using all the time, and the other one stays stationary, right? Unless we need to open up double doors. Because a lot of times when you have double doors like that, there's like a mullion strip that comes down and it's attached to one door.
Right.
And it will overlap that door. If that was on there with that, and with some stripping on that, would that not seal that?
That's what we're talking about putting, is that overlapping strap there. Yeah, is that way to cover up that gap.
I would think the guys in town, the maintenance guys in town could try that first to see before we spend $3,900 on an awning that might not even do any good.
Okay.
Is that a hardcore awning? It's not fabric, it's hardcore, right?
It
The
is.
awning, it's, yeah, okay.
It's not fabric. All right, we'll do this in steps, and first we'll try that metal strip. Is that right? Yes, yeah. The mullion strip, okay.
I'll retract my motion.
All right, motion's been retracted that Jeff Voigt made.
I think too, also, if that was to work and solve the problem, then we've got the money to fix the floor without really
Right.
going over our head.
Thank you, Randy. Good suggestion. All right, approval of Bowling Green Public Utilities connections outside of town limits. Really, that's up to you if you want to take a chance and look at it with the county and stuff, or if you want to,
Mr. Mayor,
Bring
this is an
something up
actual
or-
request.
ma'am.
This is a different matter. This is an actual request by
Let me
a
get to it.
citizen of the county to run water to their site for the home that they're building.
Oh, this is the one out here on off
On
of Chase
Hilldale?
Street here.
On Hilldale Avenue.
Yeah, Hilldale, right.
So the town code states that anytime that that there's a request, it is a request made in writing to the town council. And so it is on the agenda for that reason.
All right, council. What do y'all want to do? You want to somebody wants to make a motion on it?
Discussion?
Well,
No.
usually do the discussion after the motion is made, but I mean, you want to talk about it, that's fine.
Mr. Mayor, may I add
Yes.
one more thing?
Yes, ma'am.
In discussions with the Director of Public Works, I just want to make sure it's clear, and he did say that we both spoke to this individual, and he made it clear to him that he couldn't just connect to the line that is running near his property, that he would need to connect directly to the main. And so there is a long extension that would need to occur that they would have to pay for. But anyway, here, the request is before you.
Okay, so they would take care of everything going to the connection on the main where the meter is going to be, or is the meter going to be at the house? Because usually the way it works is we're responsible for the line up to the meters. So how is this going to work then as far as the meter location?
Do you want to continue discussion right now?
Well, yeah, we might as
Okay.
well, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
It's just, no, the meter would still be at the house, from my understanding. This is just like all those places where you want power or internet in an area where you're just responsible to get it the rest of the way because the owner doesn't want to. That's a nice part of the flexibility that we have, but you have to notice on this thing that we have before us, it does say how several inquiries have recently been received. That's kind of the problem. If we were to allow for this, we would then have a new nice connection out there for subsequent people to then be like, hey, I'd like to join too.
I understand. Just trying to cover all avenues here, but we would be responsible for the line if we did it after it's been installed at their expense. So, but I mean, they're outside of town limits. So it's up to y'all. Somebody want to make a motion either way on this?
I'll go ahead, Mr. Mayor, and make a motion to deny this since we don't have a representative from the county to discuss this matter with us.
I'll second.
All right, I got a motion on the floor to deny this by Arthur, and a second by Jeff.
I have a
Any discussion, please?
Thanks. Yeah, I talked to the homeowners last meeting, a little bit afterwards. They've been working on this since February, trying to get into this house. I just have a little empathy for these people, you know, going forward, but ultimately, I guess it's y'all's decision.
Staff, I'm just confused. How did they start to build a house if they didn't get a health department water permit?
The process for it is that before you submit to the Community Development Department in the county, that you do need to submit either from the health department, the approved permit for being able to have a well and septic, or if it's connection to a public water or sewer system, then there would be approval by the locality for whatever locality for that. That's part of the typical process that everyone has to go through, because you certainly don't want a house built without knowing that you would have those approvals. And the building code and the zoning code, if I may speak in general, most building and zone, I mean, definitely the building code, but most zoning codes have in there that prior to approval of a zoning permit, definitely approval of a building permit, you have to have all other approvals.
So you're saying the builder dropped the ball?
So I'm saying that I don't know how there is not the approval for a well and septic in place. I did not check this, but because it's outside it's in the county, but it would be pretty difficult to get a building permit not knowing if you could connect to a water system.
Is everybody else on that street on our water?
There is someone that is on the water. They have a line that runs all the way to the main. And again, as we tried to explain to this parcel owner, that line goes a long way to connect to the main.
As my understanding, when they came in here last meeting, was that they didn't have the money to put the well in, that it was going to cost them, I think they said $40,000. So evidently they got the right to put a septic and well in, but I think the well just came up so expensive, they were looking to go on the town water as a cheaper way.
That is correct.
Yeah, Dan is correct. I mean, all those houses are on there. However, the property is at the end of the road. So the property across the street actually has a service line. That's not the main line. They have a service line going back to the main is the thing. The property is, if y'all are familiar with Hildale, it's all the way at the end. It's not close to the main. Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing that they do have an option for a well. Is that they would go through the county for that, correct? And the county doesn't have any other options for them, right? Okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to deny. I'll take a roll call. Jeff? Tammy?
No.
Valerie?
Deny.
Deborah?
Deny.
Randy?
Deny.
And Arthur?
Aye.
Okay, so the.
I'm sorry, I didn't have my mic
Are
on.
nay votes, or are they
Nay.
Nay.
nay on the motion to deny? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we start over?
let's-
You
and
need
say
to
aye?
redo
do
it.
this.
I'm sorry.
It's not
Yeah,
clear.
when you say nay, you're saying no, and this is a no, this is to
Just-
turn it down.
Redo the whole thing.
So it's either yes, you want to turn it down, or no, you don't want to turn it down. Jeff? Tammy? Valerie? Deborah? Randy? Arthur?
Yes.
All right, we have 5 yeses and 1 no. Motion carries, has been denied. All right, Justin, review of the town campus project prior to expedition of the playground project.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
members of council, this, there's been several discussions about the Recovery Act funds that were given to the town by the federal government. Some projects have been approved. One of them was $150,000 in general for playground area. And, but it was the understanding that then we would come back to town council with the details, because council was concerned about not knowing the details at the time that they allocated the $150,000. Since then, there's been other projects that have been discussed. One of them is the town hall renovation. And so those council members that agreed to participate in somewhat of a subcommittee or a group have met one time and are planning to meet again. But they would like to have the renovation of town hall and the entire area from the town hall connecting to the parking, connecting, with walkable, pedestrian, landscaping, looking at the uses, the potential uses on the grassy area for events possibly, and improvements to the playground as well. So calling it a campus type of approach. And so the work has begun on that. So the request is to delay decision on the playground until the project is looked at as a whole, with a historic preservationist looking at it and for the building, because it is a historic USO building. And so anyway, there's a lot of work to be done. There's people that we had to delay the meeting, but there's people that are coming from other states to participate in this. And so that's the request.
Discussion?
Yeah, but wait a minute, first of all right, yeah, you said we've already allocated $150,000. Can we just set that aside without making a motion on this and voting to and then use it with this? Because it is a project, because it is a playground project, improved, in with it.
However, the town attorney would like to word that so that it's not actually removing the $150,000, but including it as part of a bigger project. And so not looking at it in pieces, but looking at it as a whole. And so delaying the action on spending the $150,000 until everything is reviewed and we have cost analysis for everything, because certainly the renovation of this building is important. And so we need to make sure that we, with the funds that we do have, that we have enough to, if this is going to be our major project, that we have enough and we decide what phases we want to do this project in. And it may not be, except for ADA compliance, which needs to be done, it may not be that the playground receives quite as much, but we need to bring it back to town council as a package.
Okay, I understand that. But Josh, is there anything you need now to get, because this project couple of years.
Yeah, I got a question about
Is
that.
there anything you need now that, out of this, that to keep that ground safer, you need more shavings in there? Before we just, so we don't have to come back?
If it's going to be a few years, then I would like a company to come in so that they get the right height requirements as far as like fall requirements, and, you know, help us with the ADA compliance as well. Just make sure we have the right, you know, fall height and make sure the mulch is at the right depth for, you know, each piece of equipment.
Okay.
That's what we need right now.
So we
but,
don't have any ideas then, so we can just, once you find out, I guess you just have to come back
Yes, sir.
with that. Okay, all right. Thank you, Josh, appreciate it. Anybody want to?
Yeah, I got two things.
Yes, sir.
First, is the motion going, sorry. The motion will be, we would make a motion to defer expenditures on these allocated funds until approval of a final plan? Was that more or less what
That's
you're looking for? Okay, all right. We'll make that in a minute. But going along with, you know, he's and you know, what Josh and the mayor were saying, you know, it has been several months, quite a few, over 6 since we initially allocated the funds. I really would like to see some sort of some way to expedite getting that ADA compliance. I know that we had that issue over there. You know, there's no ramp access up onto the pavilion. I know with the plans that had been discussed and some of the ideas that were brought forth, a ramp to get onto the pavilion was part of it. And at the same time, there was no, to my knowledge, discussion about paving the parking lot. So just in the way that I think of that, the only addition to the pavilion would be just to get a ramp onto it. So I would like to think that that would be possible to do in the meantime. But Josh, could you speak to that at all, or just that aspect? Because I'd like to get this ADA compliance going. I know that the playground itself is a separate matter for ADA compliance, but usage of the pavilion would be nice.
So as part of the pavilion, there was going to be a sidewalk, but right now you can access it. I mean, as far as
You can in a wheelchair.
So I mean, if we got, that was part of the paving, but I mean, I can get a quote for that as well.
I'd like to see that if possible.
Yeah, I think ADA compliance is just for the playground. As far as pavilions, I mean, I don't know if that's a state law, but I mean, I can check on that, but we can definitely get a quote for the.
Yeah, I'm not sure
There is
about.
one, Jeff, there is one side that's not very high off the ground. So I'm feeling like maybe that you could you could pull wheels. I mean, I've pushed many wheelchairs. And,
Yeah, I don't really want to get into it, but there was an issue.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely get a quote for that as well, and we can add that in.
All right. We ready for the, you got some?
All right, Tammy?
Well, I'm kind of blindsided by this because you made a committee to do the playground, and then we've been having meetings, we've been having emails, I've been talking to contractors, and now you're telling me that the 150, let's put it on a hiatus, we're not going to do that, we're going to do this whole project. But when we first laid it out to you, Mr. Webb made a nice presentation of the different stages that we wanted to do, starting with the playground, and then the pickleball court in the back, and the pavilion with the sidewalk with the handicap ramps. Am I right, Dan? I mean, we had it all laid out. It just takes time. But, you know, if all that was a waste of time, and I've got quotes and stuff, and this past week I met with the grading contractor out here to try to get a number from him. I guess we've just wasted our time.
Thank you. All right, how do you want to take this thing? I'm going to make a motion to,
I
Jeff?
thought we had a certain amount of time to spend that money by, Allison. If you said it's going to take 2 years to do this, I thought we had a certain amount of time that we had to spend that money by.
I don't know that there's really any limit to the time except, oh, you mean before we have to give the funds back to the federal government? Yes, we do have time. We have another, the latest year is 2026, I believe. There's some time.
To me, it just makes more sense to do things in stages instead of doing one overhaul
So
to make it too
Tammy, I can
complicated.
speak to this. So in the conversations that we've been having, in talking with people in the community and looking at the needs of the community, one of the things that I was thinking, and I think talking with other members of council, was that instead of taking a piece and doing it like a fix this or fix that, to try to look at the big picture and to make the town hall and, renovate it back to where it originally, to bring back the history of this building. So we really can market it in a way that is marketable, having it events here and making this campus, meaning connecting the playground to this area, making it the heartbeat of our town. We already are talking and hearing about, the lawn on the main street with the music. We can manage, and if we have the right plans, we can make it work, and it could serve everything. I'm not sure about your pickleball court. I feel like that probably is when I've talked with other people about that, I haven't had any interest on that, but I understand that is your desire. But I do feel like we can do this for the community. And I think what we're asking is that what I would like to see happen, and I'm happy again to review the plans that you guys had come up with. I just feel like it wasn't enough. We really need to look at the project as a whole. We have the opportunity with some funds, and it will just be the seed money. Actually, it's a lot like what we're seeing with when we do the water projects. You start with a pocket of money, and you start the ball rolling with getting your engineers together, you get your preservationist, and then you start working within the community, doing fundraisers. This is a community thing, and you
That's fine,
stage
but
it.
my point was
Oh.
that we've spent a lot of time on it. I've spent a lot of time with it. I've wasted people's time with it.
Yeah.
These contractors that I've met out here, the sales rep from the playground equipment, Dan, the engineer. I mean, somebody could have said, hey, we've changed our mind. We are all on council together. But instead, I didn't know everybody was
Yeah.
going out and asking the community.
Well, I think
What
we should
would
have done
you
that.
like?
I feel like
I
we
mean,
should have done that in the beginning.
And it's not a pickleball court for me, even though you think so and other members may think so. I don't have a problem going up to Kenmore 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. Pickleball, 66 pickleball courts are built per month. It is from everybody from ages from 5 to 90. And it's not just for like a basketball court for young men.
Right.
Or a baseball court or a football court. It's for whole generations of people.
Well,
But
I'm
that's
hoping
fine.
that this project would be.
I'm
sustained.
disappointed that I wasted my time and other people's time. I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
If
I totally get that.
if you can't communicate with me and let me know what's going on, and Josh and Dan that were on the committee, I feel blindsided.
All right, how do we want to take this thing?
I'd like to say something first. Allison, is there anything, with this being a historic USO building, is there any type of grant or funding to fix these buildings? Well, is the USO available to even talk to where we could get funds to fix up an old building, because it is historic?
I'm sure there are grants out there, and but we can go look for them. We did talk about that as well, knowing that the project is going to be a lot bigger than what we have funds for.
It's going to cost a lot more than $150,000 to fix it up.
Oh, no, it's.
No, it's going to
we
cost more than
have-
$1 million.
Right, we have, in recovery funds, we still have approximately 700,000, something along that. And so this would be the major project. Fixing this building up for a couple reasons, because it is historic and there's very few of them left in the United States, but also we can recoup the funds as we rent the building if it is in a showroom type quality. So that's the plan. But grants were mentioned. And it's not, I was asked to retain the Mr. Webb's engineered plan on the playground as part of it, to be looked at as part of it. This is just simply a delay to look at everything together and bring it all together to one.
So Allison, just so I'm understanding, you were saying that there's interest from other entities about the project, and that's why you're asking to delay it? Is that correct?
Right,
Okay.
right. There's
Yeah.
just time needed, because the idea is to go out to the community and really find out, get feedback and find out what it is that Bowling Green citizens would like to see, and approach it as one large project, so that, we do connect. We can have a pedestrian connection. So, I mean, a visual connection, maybe, brick walkway with landscaping. It wouldn't affect the parking area, but still people feel comfortable going back and forth between this building and the rest of the campus. And
And I guess just to try and look at a solution, is there a way that we can just place a survey out so the community can have a deadline to provide feedback for us
yes,
to try to gain?
I think it's a great
insight?
idea to join it all
Hey,
together.
I'm
My
sorry.
problem is,
Yeah, Arthur was talking.
No, sir, I'm
I'm sorry.
done.
Okay, all right, I just want to be fair with everybody.
okay. I think it's a great idea to do that and revamp this and all that. But all I'm saying is you need to take it a step by step to make sure that the money's there. My biggest concern, again, is the water. So, I mean, if we just take the project and look at the playground, like phase one of what we were talking about with the drawing that Dan said, and get that fixed, because that's a big issue. The playground is a big issue.
Yeah, and
But,
what I'm thinking,
if
we
you're gonna combine it all, you're talking $1 million.
Yeah,
You're
we-
doing outside bathrooms,
right.
that's $1 million.
When you do a project like this, you definitely have to do it in stages. There's no doubt about that. And the buy-in from the community is very important. And the playground is the place that we could start. You could also start with the front room of this building and give the insight to the people of what it is that you want to do. So that would be the envisionary, you do have to, it would be in stages.
I'm going to weigh in with, go ahead, Valerie, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in reference to Randy's questions and others with the concern for money, there is grant money for historic preservation. Also, Colleen, I've talked to from the National Association of Parks and Recreation. They have tons of grants available to buy the equipment to do these other things. So there is funding there in addition to whatever we need, but it's the thought process, again, is not just a playground, but a park area for the entire community to enjoy. There is nothing here for the people to do that. But I think if the resources are available and research is done to find those grants, that is additional funds. The ARPA funds, if I'm not mistaken, every time you use ARPA funds, you need to file a return and advise Treasury that you've used those monies. So I'm assuming if we've used any money the third quarter or the fourth quarter, that money needs to be reported by a certain date. So I guess Jackie Nance has a fee schedule for that whenever ARPA funds are used.
that's correct. It's a yearly filing.
It's reporting.
Yeah, reporting.
Right, because the last COVID money, we didn't have to report at all. This you do.
Right, that's correct.
So we're not in a
the
rush to
county-
use it that fast. Yeah,
The county had to report that. It
Right.
came through the county.
exactly. All right.
All right, I'll just give my 2 cents in on this, even though it doesn't matter. I believe in redoing this building, okay? I really do. But I also, at the same time, don't think this building is giving back to the community. Simply because it'll be something marketable. It's only for who can afford to use it and who needs to use it. I do agree with giving to the community out that way, and any other way that we can through this town. Because they're citizens, they pay taxes, they pay our salary that we elect to. and we try to protect them and the community. So, I mean, that's just my idea. I'd love to see the building back, but I don't see where it should be a focus factor on giving it back to the community when it's really not. I mean, you're not letting them use it for free. You know, you're not basketball in here, nothing. It's just, you know, just a rental property. So that's just my thought on it. Not that I don't want to see it back the way it was.
Okay, all righty. There was a reason I asked for clarification on what the motion should be, because I wanted to be sure before I said what I would say. So any motion that's to defer the expending of the money leaves the money there. This money was already allocated for the playground. So, you know, motion tonight going the way it seems to going to go, it's not going to take that money away. That would take another council action to do that in the future. So at least that money is still there. I do see some benefit in it. By putting them together, it just maintains the cohesion. You know, if everything over there was designed in triangles, and you'd have to design this thing in triangles to match, you know, and maybe you want to do stars or something. I don't know, I couldn't come up with anything better. It's just to get those in a row. You know, I'd like to see something along the way of the designs that we had, sure. And I'd probably like to see the playground first. I think I am in agreement with a lot of that, but we'll have to see. I don't want this to take 2 years. And if it starts getting like that, I hope that we bring it back again and yeah, we do break it apart, because that's too long, but we do need to try. And I guess on that, I guess if I can remember how it was I phrased it, I move to defer expenditure of the money allocated for the playground until the council approves a final comprehensive plan for the entire campus project.
150,000, correct?
Yes, the 150,000.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Vogt. I have a vote. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Deborah. Arthur?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Deborah?
Aye.
Valerie?
Aye.
Tammy? Jeff?
Aye.
We got 5 ayes and 1 nay. Motion carries. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. Approval of a public hearing fee, a fee for the yoga schedule. Y'all can discuss this, and then we can get a motion on how you want to proceed with this.
All right, I'll try speaking to this at first. I always thought of, I'm speaking of it before, I always thought that the yoga thing was kind of an outlier. It was outside the scope of our fee schedule to begin with. But I never liked the aspect of we were allowing a function in here as, it seemed to me like it was part favor, part allowing a business to like try to make a little bit of money that we then recoup some from. Allison, can you relay again exactly how that arrangement worked?
Yeah, actually what happened was that the town wanted to provide yoga classes. It wasn't that someone came to the town and wanted to have a yoga class in the building. The town wanted to have yoga classes, and so they reached out to find an instructor and to provide physical fitness and a way to have citizens come together and do some physical fitness. So we pay our instructor on Wednesday mornings, and it used to pay on Tuesday nights. And the classes are a certain rate, $10 per class or $30 per month. And then we pay our instructor a certain amount of money. Sometimes we go over that. Most of the time, we at least break it even. It's very rare that we wouldn't break even on that. The idea isn't for the town to make money on it. The idea is simply to provide a place for our citizens to have some physical activity. So what the request is, we've lost our instructor on Tuesday evenings, and so we cannot find another instructor, and the request is to continue to allow citizens to use the facility for yoga without the instructor. I talked to the town attorney, and it's no longer considered a class then, so the town council would need to amend their fee schedule to have a certain amount of money that would be paid to use the town facility. So it then is reversed. So
And my concern is that someone else who rents the facility can say, well, how come this yoga group gets to book the facility and they don't have to pay anything, but we do? I'm just trying to make it fair.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you, Allison. You explained that so much better than I was about to. That's why I had to defer to you. That is how I thought it worked. I just couldn't verbalize it. So just to finalize my opinions, I'm not talking all night. Yeah, if we were to take the role of providing these types of things, I just feel that if that's the only thing that we ever do, it doesn't really feel very transparent. If we're going to be doing those kinds of services and be like the Y, sure, but I'd like to see us maybe invigorate that and do more than just yoga, because otherwise it doesn't really feel right to me. But the idea of, yes, opening the hall without a certified instructor, that doesn't sit very well. Maybe there's something we could do better to look for a replacement. I'm not sure.
Are there 2 classes?
yes, there are 2 classes per week. There were one on Wednesday morning, and which is geared towards more senior citizens. It's called chair yoga, and then the other on Tuesday evenings,
So
and
the
that
one
is
you
the
have-
class.
You have the one on Tuesday evening still has the instructor.
That doesn't have the instructor. The one on Wednesday mornings, the chair yoga class does have the instructor.
So if they wanted to, they could actually attend the other class.
Yes, if they're available during the day.
So let me get this straight then. So we have a schedule, we have a fee in our schedule now on what we charge for that?
The fee, I can't say whether it's in our schedule, but there is a fee of, I don't know, it may be a policy, it may be in the code, it may be on the schedule, but it's $30 a month for as many Wednesdays mornings as there are in the month, or $10 for each class if you wanted to pay
So
that way.
So in other words, I can start up a karate class and do that in here. Because you got to be fair to everybody else. You can't discriminate. So that's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, again, this is something that
We're
the
offering it to
town,
the county, I mean, to the people.
this is something that it's a class that the town wanted to do. And so the town wanted a yoga class. The town government wanted a
Right.
yoga class at
So
that
maybe
time.
something we need to redo then on that.
This past Wednesday, there were 6, 7, or 8. I think it was 8 people that attended.
How long have they been doing this here, Allison, do you know?
Since Mark Mallon was on county council.
So about 10 years, right?
About 10 years, more than 10 years.
That's the government that wanted it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Doesn't Kai do fit yoga?
I'm sorry?
Fit by Kai, doesn't he do yoga for like $10 a month? $10 a session?
Yes.
They go there.
All right, so what do y'all want to do here?
Again, this is not about the Wednesday morning class. Tonight is just about the Tuesday
All right,
class that does not have an instructor,
Well,
because it's not a
Tuesdays-
class any longer.
all right.
Tuesday's the more problem. Yeah, at least the Wednesday one's during work hours where you're here.
Correct.
But I mean, what are you going to charge them? If you adopt this, what are you going to charge them?
I don't think we should adopt it.
I mean, it's,
I agree.
yeah,
I believe
Somebody-
this is
somebody make
just
a
for
motion.
Tuesday.
yeah, it's just a
Right.
Tuesday night one.
You don't need a motion if you're going to do nothing.
Okay. Y'all just want to pass on it?
Well, I mean,
You just want to pass on it? We're moving on to take it off?
can I ask the town attorney a question? Is there a
Yeah.
legal responsibility of the town if we don't make a decision?
No, I think
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
All right, moving on, we're gonna pass this one up. 15A has been added, y'all voted on that at the beginning of the meeting, and a new business for the resolution. The town attorney will read the resolution, because I think there was a couple, or one change or something that was in it. So y'all listen to it, please.
This is the Town of Bowling Green policy regarding capacity reservation and water supply connections. Whereas the Town of Bowling Green has been informed by the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality that water resources are limited. And whereas the Town of Bowling Green utilizes, on the average, 85% of their currently permitted water supply on a daily basis. Whereas the Town of Bowling Green has, on occasion, exceeded 100% of its daily water supply, and whereas at this time the ability to acquire additional water is unknown, and whereas the Town of Bowling Green has hired Stantec to perform groundwater modeling to determine potential future water supply, and whereas until Stantec has performed their contracted work, the ability to acquire additional water capacity remains unknown. And whereas the town council desires to prevent further water connections that will negatively impact the water supply for the town of Bowling Green in the interest of the public health, safety, and general welfare. And whereas the town council desires to provide water services to existing residents during this uncertain time. And whereas it is town council's desire to serve the existing lots of record within town limits. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bowling Green Town Council that until further notice, no water connections or capacity reservations shall be approved or permitted for any property outside of the town limits. And be it further resolved by the Bowling Green Town Council that no capacity reservations shall be permitted or accepted, and no water connections approved within the town limits until a zoning building permit is issued for construction. And be it finally resolved by the Bowling Green Town Council that water connections shall only be accepted for existing lots of record that are in existence as of the 6th of October, 2022.
I'll move for adoption of the resolution.
Second.
You got it first by Jeff, second by Valerie. Discussions, please. All right, well, I have
I
one,
got some,
go ahead.
if we have a builder come in here that's got a lot of money, got a lot of lawyer backing, can he tie this up and can it cost us a lot of money?
No.
Okay,
They wouldn't have no ground to stand to come after us on this.
No.
all right, now this does physically state that if it's R1 and they want to come in here and put 20 houses on it, that we have the right to refuse it.
If it's a lot that doesn't exist now,
You know, well, it already exists as an R1. It's a large lot, and they're talking about wanting to put more houses on it.
Then they have the right to build
they
one
have the-
house.
right.
One house only, even though it states in there that
Well, they can get one water connection for one house. They can subdivide and build all the houses they want, but they're not going to be able to
So
reserve.
this here handles that, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. The only other thing, since we are tightening down on water, we need to start thinking about, especially with outside of town, with all them people that are irrigating all summer long, and they use a lot of water irrigating at Horton out there. And we need to talk about possibly here in the very near future of some type of water moratorium or whatever you call it. Thank you.
Moratorium.
Moratorium, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that's come up at the planning commission. We'll be
Okay,
able
all
to
right,
discuss that
okay.
there.
Okay, thank you. All right, any more discussion?
I do have one, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
for the town attorney. So just confirming that this states that current lots that are permitted for any, I guess, building within the town limits can apply for a water connection. Is that correct?
Once they have a building zoning permit.
Understood.
I have a question for Ms. Arata as well, because since we're going to be discussing it at planning, I'm probably going to ask you anyway. So if we did go ahead with a moratorium outside of town and they did not do that inside of town, what liability do we face?
I don't think you face any liability.
Okay, there's no, gotcha.
Yeah, because I think you can even, if it gets bad enough, I think you can possibly even cut off out-of-town services. Can't you? Or do you have to adopt that policy and if it gets, I'm just saying, if it gets bad 10 years from now? Because since you say we can stop them from irrigating and not in town.
I think we would have to look at that at the time. I think the specific facts at that time would be important, but yes, probably.
Okay, but we can still tell them to cut off their water and grass, but not the people in town. That's what Valerie was saying, and you said yes.
Yes, if we did a moratorium and told them outside of town they cannot use water, and then the people in town can, you're going to obviously get a lot of pushback. So that's what I'm asking. What liability do we face? You're basically discriminating against out-of-towners and letting in-towners use water. That's my concern.
Yeah, I think it would be prudent if you're going to undertake an ordinance like that, which it would need to be an ordinance, that that the rationale for the prohibition outside of town be clearly articulated. And it would seem to me that if the water usage is as high as this resolution indicates, and I do believe that it's factually correct, that perhaps some restrictions might also be appropriate in town.
Okay, thank you all. Y'all ready to vote? All discussion is over? All right, Jeff?
Aye.
Tammy?
Yes,
Huh? Say again?
yes.
Okay. Valerie?
Aye.
Deborah?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Arthur?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 100%. All right, moving on to informational items. Number 16, trash recycling collection service. All right. I told y'all last meeting that I would check into this, and I checked into it. I went down and had a face-to-face meeting with GFL, and they assured me that they would be on the ball with the recycling. They were trying to tell me that they had citizens down here that was complaining to the driver that they don't recycle. That's why they're putting trash in there, and that they've had calls from residents. And I kindly reminded them that the contract was with us and not the people in the town. And that if they have somebody calling, that they need to call us, and we can make the complaints or whatever. So don't listen to them. We're the ones, with the contract paying the bill. They said that they would start back. I gave them 2 weeks, and started back this Wednesday. They had 2 trucks in here, and they even checked in like they're supposed to. I told them the other thing is they weren't checking in. So they were checking in. The girls in the office, I think they even have their phone numbers to the drivers. So if they have a complaint, they can call them and say, hey, you missed so-and-so. Because sometimes they may miss one. It could be the person put it out too late in the morning, and they come in early, So, something like that could happen easily. So if that's the reason, then they can go back real quick and get it. So, they're going to try to work better with us. We're going to try to stay working with them. And we also put out the flyer about it on what is recyclable and what is not, so we can try to educate the public. I need that put on the bulletin board out there too. Okay, please. And if for some reason this individual doesn't want to recycle, let us know. We'll swap the can out. We'll give them another trash can, so we can resolve that problem. So we put that out there as well. So I just hope they hold true. We don't have to call, try to get back with them and stuff. They're supposed to supply us with some box trash cans for the fall festival that says GFL on them. They're boxed and they're going to provide the bags so that Josh and them can have trash set out in different places now. So I got to remind them, we're supposed to remind them about that, get them this week. So we'll have those. Other than that, anybody got anything they want to say about the trash recycling? We move on?
Mr. Mayor, did you say they started that this week?
Yes, they did.
I had a resident call me and complain that when they come by their house, they dumped both trash and recycling in the same truck.
Okay, but I know they were out here because the people that were doing the recycle was hand doing it. That got on back to the truck, because I talked to him and then the other driver was in a green truck doing the regular. If he picked it up, I'm sorry about that, but hopefully I can, let them know. If we keep hearing, I'll let them know, hey, you got a driver that's still picking up wrong. So, we'll stay on top of it. So if you get any complaints, let the girls know, please, and we'll try to handle it. Appreciate that.
I got two things for you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
First, I guess I do want to say I appreciate the extra effort that you took to get a hold of them and everything. You did put a lot of time in there, so I want to recognize
They
that.
wouldn't answer the phone, that's for sure.
I know. I was there one of those times when you were calling them. So you did good to get a hold of them. So I don't want that to take away from what I'm about to say. It would be nice, and I would say if problems persist, imperative that there be some sort of representative of them here. You are the spokesman for town, so you're doing right in the role. But sometimes council needs interaction with them as well. This is good. You did great organizing the things for the Harvest Fest, so I'm fine with how things went there. Only other aspect that I want to mention, though, is we went so long with them not doing the job correctly that there are a lot of residents that are feel that they basically wasted their money. We do pay more because we have them recycle. And we went quite a long time without the recycling being taken care of. I highly doubt anybody's going to be getting any credits. And although it's a nice offer to say we'll switch out a recycling can with a trash can, it's not like we're lowering anybody's bills. And if, like with what Randy just said is true, if those things continue, not only is it a bad reflection on a company in having that kind of way that they treat the customers, but our contract says they're supposed to do the recycling. Well, maybe if they don't want to do it, maybe we should see what it would cost to not have them be doing it, because maybe all of our residents would have maybe just preferred a lighter bill. And so that might be a nice option.
Mr. Mayor, this is a pretty serious issue that staff spends a lot of time on with our citizens. And so my question to council, if we can get some feedback, is it council's will that we review the contract and potentially find another trash service company? It's certainly in the minds of myself and staff risen to that level, but anyway, and I think it the citizens as well.
First, I'm sorry, go ahead, Arthur.
I'll speak to that. I would say yes, because the company changed ownership. There should be some type of review. If at minimal, there should be some type of re-signing or acknowledgement that a new company is in position to provide that service to the town. And it should allow us the opportunity to either continue that service or look elsewhere.
I don't have that choice with my mortgage.
I get it. I know, but I don't recall the prior trash service having this many complaints. So.
Well, it started, I think it started back in when Shiflett had it on not picking up recycle, I believe. Waste Management was good about picking them both up. But ever since we got Shiflet, I don't think it ever ran right, even when it was Shiflets. GFL
Right.
took it over, and you had the same people running the office that ran Shiflets, okay? And I did mention to them about the contract and about how the citizens are feeling like, and we feel like you were taking advantage of us by not picking up the recycle because you only sending one truck down instead of two trucks down. So you were making out. So I did lay that out to them, so they know that we're watching that. They said they would handle it, take care of it. So other trash companies, I don't know who else is around. GFL is buying them all up in town. I mean, really.
Davis,
Waste Management is the only one, and I think Waste Management is trying to get out of the rule because they make all their money in the dumps, in the landfills.
so I know with my other job, that's something we went with Davis, but I guess the big picture for me is thinking about, I'm not sure recycling, what are they doing with it as well when they pick it up? I mean, and that, because to be honest with you, we all want to do the right thing. I mean, we recycle because we're trying to do what's right for the environment. I think for me, that's the bigger picture here. So, and I guess when it comes down, when it filters back to us and how we're spending our dollars, I hate to say this, but I'm beginning to feel like it's not worth our dollars to do the recycling. Because even if they're going to wait in that long line, and it was at Chesterfield, where that one place that you
Yeah, I
can
think it
go
is,
to,
yeah.
where you can go and actually they will recycle if they check everything out and you pass the inspection. Even then, I'm not sure what really happens. I mean, there's been a lot of, you may get some things, recycled or whatnot. I think as a, environmentalist, we need to think about reusing products, but that's a whole other conversation. But I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe we need to think about can we get a cost of what it would be to not recycle, because that seems to not be working very well.
Well, I agree. That's why AP Hill, they informed us that the single stream recycling, which is what this is, it goes to down around Chesterfield or somewhere down there. That's the only place around here that does it. Well, they're not sure even when it goes down there where it goes after that. They put them on barges and they ship them over to China. And then China refuses them because they're dirty and they ship them out to India or Pakistan, wherever. And then they wind up in the ocean. So what they're starting to do is what AP Hill told me, sitting right in here in the steering committee, that they're just putting it all in the landfill because they know where it's at. They know everything's in there and it's not sitting out in the ocean somewhere, polluting up some other country or the ocean, whatever. So that's what a lot of them are doing. So they may be picking it up and guess where it may go.
And our citizens may be paying an extra cost for it to end up that way anyway.
Yep. So I think it is something that we should look at.
Mr. Hooley brought this up last month. I mean, maybe we should really check into about a garbage truck and hiring one full-time person. Yeah, there's an expense in it, but what would the expense be? I mean, we drive around here. I mean, we got one guy, we put him on the payroll, and we got a truck. All right, so if we break that down over a year and what everybody's paying in town, I think it would be cheaper to do that. It's another thing we got to watch, but is it a way to maybe look at it?
What do we pay each month, Judy, for trash collection? What are we, huh? $5,800. That's the truck payment and part of an employee payment.
It still brings
Insurance
up the recycling
and-
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got dump fee. You got to pay dump fees. So it can be costly. But I mean, $5,800 would be a probably close to a truck payment. And then you got the maintenance, you got the insurance, you got the interest.
Talked to the town treasurer about that because there was one that was in Virginia from a town, because the comment was said that towns don't do it themselves, and there was a town in Virginia that was getting rid of a truck, and I looked at it and it seemed in pretty good shape, and so I did the math. I'd have to rerun it again, but I talked to the town treasurer about that. I'm going to be honest, I've had a lot of numbers in my head since then, and I don't recall that. I was driving down 301 talking to her because the truck was being sold for, it was another bidding thing. It could have gone for 90,000. It could have gone for 40,000. So it was in the town of Herndon. So that is a town in Virginia that we could reach out to and ask them their experience and how they manage it. And I do believe the city of Fredericksburg was doing it at one point. So
They still do, because I talked to one of the guys a couple days ago, and they still do theirs. They want to lose it too.
The town of Remington also provides trash service.
Yeah, new trash trucks are probably close to $500,000. You would need a CDL driver as well, and then they're very expensive to work on. I mean, extremely expensive, and we have no place to work on it. I mean, standard vehicles we work on, but that would be an extreme expense as well.
And the town of West Point. West Point does it too.
All right. Moving on to software conversion
And,
and
hold
IT
on, I'm sorry,
support.
and Ashland.
Ashland M. All right, Allison, this is your time to shine.
If we can delay this till next month, David from the county is coming to help us speak about this issue, so thank you.
All right, we'll just hear from you next month. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I can make that motion for you, Mr.
I got
Mayor.
a motion by Jeff to adjourn. He wants out of here. Second by Valerie. All in favor, say aye. We are adjourned.